Much like a four-seamer, life comes at you fast. Sometimes it's so fast that 4 months pass by without us even realizing it's been a third of a year since we've checked in on the baseball kingdom. 4 months since we witnessed the fall of the old guard. 4 months since we watched the Bows finally complete their redemption arc and claim the throne. 4 long months since we've seen Triple Crown winner Petey Piranha take the field, which is far too long for my liking. As I'm sure you've gathered by now, that ends today. Welcome to Season 4 of the Akaland Slugging Association. If you are new around here, this is a Mario Super Sluggers CPU vs CPU draft league I started with my friends way back when, with the first 3 seasons already receiving recaps on my channel. In case you're curious, no, this isn't what I normally sound like, but I also refuse to narrate less dramatically. After all, the way I see it, how can you not be romantic about Mario Super Sluggers? New viewers, take heart. Where last season saw the resolution of league-wide storylines trailing from all the way back in Season 1, this 4th outing promised a kind of shakeup we've never seen before. In other words, this is a fantastic starting point. For those of you already familiar with the league, welcome back. I hope you all are better at handling sudden change than I am because things are about to get strange. Before we recount who entered the draft pool and who secured that coveted first pick though, let's make a couple updates to our GM roster. If you recall, last season saw both Jake and Mr. Murphy ride off into the sunset after being eliminated in the play-in. With 2 of the big 4 ASA franchises now seeking replacements, the association desperately needed to address our losses before rushing into yet another season. Replacing Jake as an MRC GM was Delta Zulu, longtime Spitball's head coach. Coming off of his second straight top 3 finish in Coach of the Year voting, DZ was a continuous bright spot, even in the Spitball struggles. Muscles fans, don't worry, you've got a good one. As for Murphy's replacement in the BFC, things got a little odd. Their head coach, Wisp, was the consensus greatest coach in ASA history and a close friend of ours for several years, so he seemed primed for the role. Indeed, as Murphy resigned, Wisp immediately stepped in to fill that role. For the first few weeks, we were pleased with the selection and excited to see what would happen when Season 4 finally rolled around. Weeks became months though, and our good friend Wisp soon set out on an indefinite break from the internet to focus on forging his own path in the real world. We all fully endorsed his decision and wished him well on his way, knowing his chances of returning were slim to none. This bittersweet farewell was the last event on our server for some time. With no good candidates for replacement and little motivation to continue down this path, the league fell into relative obscurity even among its own founders. We wanted a 4th season, sure, but the time wouldn't make itself. Furthermore, I had always hoped to bring the ASA to YouTube, and I didn't think it made that much sense to go beyond Season 3 before ever making content on Season 1. It wasn't until December 2024 that I decided to commit to the project, finally pressing that sweet upload button on January 5th, 2025. Having been creatively frustrated for years at this point, I was just about ready to give up on my dreams of becoming a content creator, but I figured I'd give it this one last shot. After that, the magic happened. Our Discord server of like 12 people exploded into well over 1,000, all eager to take their own shots at this whole Mario baseball thing. Deuce and I were vastly unprepared to handle this newfound success, but we did the best thing we could think to do: scramble to assemble the skeleton of a minor league, our idea of a proving ground. I won't spend too long on the minor league since it's sort of a separate entity, but what you do need to know is that it was instrumental in kickstarting the wave of offshoot draft leagues you may find around the internet, all beginning in mid-January 2025. The secret to our success? Everyone knew the Fireballs needed a new GM, and the minor league was the best way to prove one's worth. Out of 200 applicants, Deuce and I selected 8 GMs, alongside a host of coaches they formed rosters from. Even if it wasn't fully confirmed, just about everyone knew one of these 8 would become the next ASA GM. They were Stuckmund, Ziggy, Chris, Corbin, Asher, Tem, Maple, and Blue. After a 7-game season, Tem and Blue bowed out at 7th and 8th respectively. The 2 and 3 seeds each took upsets in the minor league play-in, leaving one spot to be split between Stuck, Asher, Corbin, and Maple. Continuing his hot streak, Corbin's minor league Fireballs stuffed out Stuckman's Knights in a close contest, while his fellow Cinderella in Maple and the minor league Wilds fell in respectable fashion to Asher's second-seeded Monsters. As for the finals, the 3-game series opened up at 1-1. With one final chance to claim the GM spot, Corbin's squad turned up, securing victory as the 5th seed and a spot in the ASA as a proper GM. Don't worry about the other minor league GMs though, all 7 were scooped up by major ASA teams as coaches, part of our big coaching carousel before getting into the proper offseason. Aside from these 7, there are a few other highlights from that I'd like to point out, which go as follows. First, aside from Delta Zulu's promotion to GM, ASA legacy coaches Nico and Greenlit were the only 2 to survive the jump to Season 4. Second, well-renowned code fanatics Phil, SG, and Fun1 were all picked up as coaches, in no small part due to their nigh unparalleled game knowledge. If you aren't familiar with them, I recommend you check out a recent video on my channel detailing some major findings they've recently come up with, to get an idea of what they're capable of. For a final note, Murphy and Jake didn't quite manage to fully separate themselves from us, returning as the Flowers assistant coach and offensive coordinator respectively. Otherwise, I'll show you each team's coaching roster on their roster cards in a moment. Of course, that means we'll have to begin breaking down who stayed, who left, and how the draft shook out. Let's begin with the draft lottery, where we don't have to spend too much time. This went entirely according to odds, with Cyber's Knights rightfully landing the top pick after their second straight one-win season. Before retentions, our newest patch was published to showcase what GMs could expect from each character going into the draft. I'll throw a list of highlights on your screen, as well as a couple characters who received especially potent buffs. This was our first time experimenting with CPU class, which is a hidden stat affecting what category of behaviors a player will fall into. The 4 classes are balanced, speed, power, and technique, each with their own unique quirks. If you want more info on that, let me know in the comments and I can make a full video to break it down sometime. Suffice it to say that Dark Bones, Luigi, Peach, and Red Koopa were among the names affected, with each expected to benefit greatly. Moving on to retentions, where things were likewise fairly benign for most teams. We decreased the number of retainable characters to 3 for this season, but 6 of the 8 teams still managed to bring back their trios of intended characters. As for the 2 who didn't though, things were disastrous. In the biggest shock we've ever seen on retention night, reigning MVP PD Piranha opted out of returning to the Flowers despite a 95% chance to stay. That left my team with only Hammerbro and Wiggler, not to mention late picks in every round. It was a soul-crushing loss on the one hand, but for Cyber and the top of the lottery, things were beginning to look promising. If that seemed bad, just wait till you see what happened to AJ's rookies. After such a promising first season, AJ had to stand by and watch as Boomerang Bro hit on his 15% chance to leave, and the Bowser Jr. coin flip came up a loss. With only Bowser left on the roster, it's difficult to say whether my 2 guys or AJ and the newly reverted monsters were in a worse spot. With the league runner-up and a key semifinalist both going down hard, the top of the league was fully up for grabs. As such, it didn't take long for trade rumors to spark up in and between just about every franchise. When it came to completed deals, there were 4 before the draft, 3 of which were negotiated on one late night in August. Naturally, all 3 carried major implications for the upcoming season. First, Spectro and Cyber picked up right where they left off last time, striking yet another deal between the league's closest partnership. This time, Spectro bought in on the newly buffed Red Koopa for his second round pick, which would be number 10 overall. At around the same time, Spectro finalized another deal, this one with rookie GM Delta Zulu, his own former head coach. This move saw Spectro pair Koopa the Killer with Koopa the Quick, bringing in the Green Gleam for his 4th round pick. Once midnight fell, chaos broke loose. Cyber knew there was no purpose in keeping much of his previous Knights Core around, so he shipped former Bose legend Grey Drybones back home in return for Wyatt's second, the 13th overall pick. With that move, Cyber took ownership of a quarter of the first 2 rounds, gearing up for a retooling the likes of which we've never seen before. Seeing the writing on the wall, I kicked things into high gear, pitching just about any Wiggler-related trade I could find to disrupt Cyber's impending surge. To my dismay, nobody wanted him, and I only managed to help soothe AJ's wounds by encouraging him to trade his 6th pick for Deuce's 8th and 24th, so this was the state of the league going into Season 4 draft night. This was the first draft to ever be streamed live, and I think it's safe to say that tradition will be continuing in the future. The suspense of awaiting each pick and the drama of not knowing who was scheming behind the scenes seemed to resonate with a lot of folks. Sadly, we don't have 2 hours to spend on the draft alone, so I'll run through it pretty quickly. Before the draft kicked off, I reported rumors that the top 5 picks would be Petey, Boomerang Bro, Bowser Jr., Yellow Pianta, and Blue Critter in some order. To be precise, that was more or less the expected order minus 1 wrinkle, and that Jr. was expected to go second to Spectro. Sure enough, 2 picks in, the Spectro rookies were born. After that, however, Delta Zulu had a surprise up his sleeve. Instead of drafting the best player available in Boomerang Bro, he opted to aim for a proper Kremlin convention, swiping up Blue Critter with the 3rd pick. After that, Corbin expectedly completed his Triforce of Piantas, and the bows made out like bandits after upgrading Blue Critter into Midnight Blue. Everybody knew that Deuce wanted to scoop up the newly power class Wario, and he did just that with the shiny new 6th pick he traded up for. He'd hoped to land Wario at the 8th pick, but AJ threatened to snipe him if Deuce didn't give up that 3rd rounder, so the 6th would have to do. Next, I ruffled a few feathers by doing something nobody quite expected. See, I'd told the world I intended to bring back Daisy whether or not it was the smartest decision. I think having a consistent identity is important, and keeping our captain is no small step on that path. Noticing that Cyber would easily swipe green Drybones, however, I instead decided to swoop in and bring him into my loving embrace instead. AJ drafted BDB back, and the first round was complete. I'll mostly leave things here, but I do want to tell another quick story or two before we get into post-draft trades. That GDB selection particularly bugged Delta Zulu, who'd been hoping he'd fall down to his roster at the 11th pick. Not quite sure of what to do, he made about the only move he could to try and wrestle him away, stealing Daisy. Of course, it was clear to me that he didn't particularly want to become the Flowers, so I got away with a slap on the wrist by trading picks 15 and 31 to bring her back. As for the last of the drama, there was some strife as AJ scooped up Waluigi and Purple Toad. Corbin and the Fireballs were particularly bullish on the Magenta Maverick, so they also paid the price to make that vision a reality. Here's what things looked like at the end of the draft. I won't dwell here too long since this is already the longest off-season segment we've ever done, but if you want to get an idea of where everyone was to begin the interlude between round 11 and opening night, here's a snapshot. If you pause to look around, you may have noticed that my Flowers were in a bit of a bind. We didn't really have any pitchers, or much of an outfield, given that we were built around two Red Me's who'd be expected to do both. So we called up our fellow strugglers over in AJ's camp and made a deal. We shipped off Red Yoshi and Mr. Murphy, that's right, our own assistant head coach is me, for Blue Yoshi and Captain Falcon to man the outfield. That, of course, fixed our outfield while helping to integrate Red Para in the Monsters defense, but both teams still had a lot of work to do if we hoped to make Sundown. Over in Wild's Nation, Deuce made a similar sacrifice, shipping his own me out to bring fan-favorite Baby Daisy in and away from DZ's squad. For a final off-season deal, Blue and I did about everything in our power to sweet-talk DZ into giving us our own fan-favorite back. In Blooper, we discovered another potential pitching option, while DZ picked up Baby Mario in what was more or less a meaningless trade for him. With the most exciting offseason in league history behind us, let's launch into some roster reviews. Instead of the traditional conference-by-conference approach though, let's go by the power rankings I created ahead of Season 4's official debut. Coming in 8th were, well, my own Flowers. Losing Petey and having to sacrifice more than we'd hoped for Daisy was enough to derail the entire franchise, and we'd have to hope for a hammer row carry job if we ever wanted to record even a single win. It didn't help that our defense was still a massive question mark, so just about everyone expected a major fall from grace for one of the most storied franchises in the league. In 7th, the Monsters. By my own admission, this team was the least likely to make the postseason. Still, I felt that having Bowser, BDB, and Walu was enough for me to generally expect a higher floor from AJ's squad than my own. Either way, the Monsters were expected to make absolutely zero noise. Stepping up, I surprised even myself by placing the Knights down at 6th. While it was certainly an improvement over 2 seasons of sitting alone at the bottom of the barrel, I think most of us expected to see them soar higher after they claimed so many draft picks. Not to take too much credit, but I do think my decision to take GDB really derailed what could have been a much more impressive one-night rebuild in Cyberland. That said, Petey is Petey, so we all knew this team would most likely see Sundown. In 5th came the first of the 2 rookie GMs, this being Corbin and the Fireballs. I wanted to place this team higher, but watching previous Fireballs teams come up just short was enough to make me a bit cynical. They'd be a title contender to some extent, but whether they'd soar like their Season 1 and 2 BFC Championship rosters, or crash and burn like their Season 3 outing was anyone's guess. Coming in 4th, DZ's Eggs. That's right, with Wario heading over to the Wilds, DZ was in need of a new captain. Yoshi was set to hit the field for the first time since receiving major buffs in Season 3, and I think just about everyone was high on this team. With K-Rool, 2 critters, and an unimpressive but inoffensive supporting cast, this squad seemed like a safe bet to make Sundown in some capacity. Now for the true contenders. We'll begin with Spectro, who'd made the move from Spitballs to rookies. Like AJ last season, he looked primed for a BFC title behind his star-studded and satisfyingly harmonious roster. I'd been burned by hyping up Spectro-led teams for a couple seasons at this point, so it meant a lot that I was willing to buy in on the hype yet again. As for my hottest take, it's the Bows. Most people put this squad up at number 1, but I wasn't ready to buy in on the Y-Guy repeat just yet. Still, between most of the roster returning and Boomerang Bro joining in on the fun, it was hard to say this team was anything but a guaranteed threat. By process of elimination, that leaves the Wilds. They still managed to bring back the entire Season 2 championship team, this time adding Wario on top of all of it. If I was a betting man, which I'm certainly not, but that's the point of the phrase, I was willing to put it all on the Wilds to have yet another big season. Now, apologies for interrupting this smooth and natural progression, but it looks like we're about to launch straight into some ASA action. Before we do, I think it's imperative you know about the Ball Knowers Club, the best way to experience the league. That's right, I'm talking about our 100-strong group of channel members, each earning shiny membership badges, channel emotes, and access to private Discord channels for $5 a month. As if that wasn't enough, I also upload members-only content and give members-only previews here and there, so if you want to see it all, please consider supporting the channel. For all the existing ball knowers out there, I offer my sincerest gratitude for your continued grace as I've struggled to get this video out. It certainly wasn't easy, but I have you to thank for making it possible. With that said, I'm sure you can all tell I love speaking for long periods of time, but I think we're well overdue for some opening night action to give my narrator voice a break.
Hello and welcome to the first game of ASA Season 4. It's been a long time coming, and for the first time we have a live audience. So shout out to everybody who's currently on YouTube watching us. We are just commentating this live. So I am joined by Deuce, and we are about to watch PD. Oh, this one hurts.
As my past self hinted at in that intro, this was set to be a game full of firsts and debuts. Our first live game, and the first game with PD on a new team, plus Corbin's debut as GM of the Fireballs and Cyber's debut with a seemingly competent lineup. The Knights took care of business for a quick 2-outs, but the Magenta Maverick became the first to lay down a base hit in Season 4. A pop fly off of BP's bat rendered that hit meaningless though, and the Knights would step to the plate for their first attempt at runs.
They got one on base. The Maverick got on base. Toadette? Yeah, not gonna make it there. BP playing shortstop for the first time in his career.
Interesting.
And
Very
RP
interesting.
starting at pitcher for the first time in his career. Also YP in center for the first time in any Pianta's career.
Yes. It is actually... Well, that's Red 2 doing Red Toad things. But this is a very interesting move, as this is the first time since Season 1. Actually, I think this is the first time ever that all three Piantas have been drafted by the same person.
Yeah, that's true, because Murphy did not draft. That's a double play. Wow.
It seemed early on in this one that we were destined for a low-scoring battle, but protagonist Toad and YP collaborated for back-to-back base hits at the beginning of the second.
I think their defense might be a little worse for wear than in leagues past.
That's
Holy
so
you,
long.
Narukami.
Yep, first at-bat is a yellow me, by the way. That's one home.
Wow.
First
yeah.
RBI of the season goes to Yellow Me You. He's golden
And
now. I think there's a clear top 5 of this league.
I
think Cyber is also pretty clearly 6, and then 7 and 8 are also pretty clear. That's 2-0 Fireballs though so far. Which
I would be surprised if you are not bottom 2.
I mean, I wouldn't
Anything
be like
can happen.
I wouldn't be like shocked. My team has some sauce. It's
You
not
do
like,
still have Hammer Bro and Wiggler.
right. We don't.
Like,
We also have GDB still. It's not like we have a Season 2, Season 3 Cyber team. We can win. We will win multiple games. That's a triple play. No, Madge didn't throw it fast enough.
Mario brought in number 3, and the home team Fireballs were making good on their reputation. The rally continued into loaded bases for BP for 2 more. P-Toad and Yellow Pianta picked up right where they started the inning to claim an 8-0 lead before a gritty Toadette grab finally stopped the bleeding. If the Knights were to respond, it'd need to begin with the reigning MVP in his first at-bat over in the BFC.
Petey, what do you got? Show me something, man.
All right, Petey, let's see what you can do here. This is also Star Petey, too.
Yeah. I mean,
for those
he
unaware,
knows this is his only offense.
Star Petey went off in the minors, and he goes out immediately.
Star Petey is getting caught out by center fielder Yellow Pianta.
Now, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it was beginning to seem like the Knights were back to their old ways. Or, rather, stuck in the same ones. The Fireballs, seeing no need to waste their energy, stood pat at 8 through the 4th. It was then that Toadette and Road finally managed to reach the corners for Sigourney.
Sigourney, by the way, she's getting her first actual burn in this game. Is this her first at-bat? No, it's not.
It honestly might be, and if so, that is a phenomenal hit.
Sensing the fact that his chain had been snatched by a brand new rotational player, Petey finally decided it was his time to ball out.
That's not the
Petey
type of thing.
can half this run.
Oh, that's it. There we go.
He will.
First home run of the season goes to Petey.
A later RBI off of Kareem's bat cut the lead down to 3, and the Fireballs decided it was time to dust themselves off and play the game again. The 5th was a buffer inning with nothing doing on either side, but the 6th saw YP drill one down the middle for what seemed like an early dagger. Indeed, skipping forward to the bottom of the 7th will reveal 2 outs and only 1 runner on base. With PD only 2 runners behind Red Toad, the comeback seemed almost impossible. Still, with Road and Sigourney clutching up yet again, PD did have one final chance to pull his team back within striking distance.
But that's the best you can hope for. and not whatever pathetic slap he had last time.
I think he wants it. It actually wouldn't.
That's not
someone
it.
Said, oh, and it's caught too. Petey with a disappointing first. He had that 1 3-shot homer, but other than that.
With that, the Fireballs improved to 3-1 in opening night games, 1-0 in the Corbin era. The Knights, meanwhile, would have to wait and see whether this team was the beginning of a new era or a reskinned continuation of their previous Nightmare seasons. Now is when I would advance us to our second game, but this opening night had yet another first in store. Our first live trade announcement in the middle of an active game slate. I'll let Deuce's past self take it away.
Alright, so a trade has taken place between the Deuce Wilds and the Spectro Rookies. The Spectro Rookies are sending over Red Magic Koopa. And in return, we have given them Wild Staple, our second round pick, Diddy Kong.
What?
If you couldn't tell from my reaction, not even I knew it was in store. For the first time since Season 1, Deuce would be rocking something of a new roster, while Spectro scooped up the Wild's longtime pitcher in exchange for a mound threat of their own. Before we get into those two teams though, we'll first head to Nighttime Yoshi Park to watch our other rookie GM, Delta Zulu. As for his opponent, he'd be immediately faced with his franchise's greatest rival in My Flowers, with his own previous GM in My Brother aiding the opposing dugout. Still, general consensus put DZ's eggs far above Whammer in the gang, so nobody was quite sure what to expect. The Flowers got out to a slow start, going 3 up and 3 down as Hammerbro struggled to adjust to his new spot at the beginning of the lineup. Still, they forced the same result on the other side behind an impressive grab by Falcon, so the inning was moot. The first two to reach base were Link and Blue Yoshi, though the hideous creature benefited greatly from a similarly hideous Critter Bobble. Though he was gunned out at second shortly thereafter, the state of affairs was still enough to keep the Flowers' offense afloat, supporting the first 2 runs of the game as slap hitters Blue Toad and GDB pulled through. Still, the Eggs' defense refused to let things get out of hand, turning a double on loaded bases to escape with only minor damages. Unfortunately for them, minor damages matter a lot in a feather fight, and neither offense managed another scratch until the 4th. It was then that Blooper made his presence known, moving from questionable starter to difference maker as the Flowers took a 3-1 lead. Blitter mustered enough of a response to reduce the deficit back to 2, but the Flowers' defense refused to budge despite the Scaly squad's efforts. 3-1 is not quite comfortable enough for Hammerbro though.
Fortunate.
Oh, but Whammer.
That's just outright
Whammer's
dumb.
Whammer. Where's that out? Yeah,
Because
Whammer.
they give up first item hit.
I just want to say shout out to the Hammerbro cosplayer and general chat of ASA. You are funny as hell. I love you. Check your gems.
Oh, and that's also gone, as the Flowers are making a statement.
It was just as Guy said. Even while undeniably wilting, My Flowers refused to go out sad against our biggest rivals. Daisy and Blooper went on to extend the lead to 7, while K-Rool saved a bit of face by showing up all the way in the bottom of the 7th for one last run. A Whammer Daisy double secured the Flowers' first win, already exceeding what many expected of the depleted Titans season. DZ, on the other hand, would have to wait for his first win, his squad crumbling as Flowers starter Link pitched a full 7 innings to hold them off. As for our next opening night game, we'll have the pleasure of witnessing a captain matchup never seen in ASA history.
Hello and welcome to Family Feud, the Sluggers game. This is the first time the rookies are a thing opposed to the monsters, and I'm here with Will Akamos and Y-Guy.
Actually, I'm Steve Harvey.
Oh yeah, that's Steve
Family
Harvey.
Feud.
You've got me and Steve Harvey on the mic.
What's up?
Okay. Yeah, so Red Para's out there with the star in center field. I think that is the best way to use Red Para. Start
Good
if you
answer,
can
good
in
answer.
center field. Yes, good answer. Good answer to lead off here by the Monsters.
Oh, wow.
Do you think they waxed
Yeah.
the stadium floor? It's such a nice finish. I don't think I've ever noticed that.
Tiny.
I mean, yeah, I would assume so. It's a cruise ship. I imagine that Daisy keeps it ship shape.
I can't remember if I meant to make that pun or not, but I apologize either way. Anyway, Spectro's squad set out on an attempt to prove themselves the best rookies team in history, and runners on the corners with only 1 out was a good start.
The problem is that his bat is not.
Ooh!
Oh my
Am I good?
goodness, and it looks like so are you, Will.
Am I good this season?
This is the Will season.
Still, the monsters didn't exactly look strong themselves. They managed to hold off Diddy Kong and the rookies in the second, but looked incapable of scoring themselves. Most considered Bowser their only real shot, and with him only going for a routine single, what chance did they have? I mean, unless Blue Shy Guy could start a rally to load the bases, and reigning LVP Red Para could score 2 runs, they'd most likely be held scoreless again.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it didn't seem like Ritter was too happy with that one. His teammates likewise decided to get down to business as Koopa the Quick got into position for the newly buffed Red Koopa.
That's it, right?
I think so.
Also, Koopa the Killer.
Ordeal.
Koopa the Killer's tried to kill. Yeah, Ordeal's not in the lineup, though. She's on the roster.
Yeah.
That's true.
There's a sack fly from Koopa the Killer to score Koopa the Quick, and they've got their first run of the season, actually. I was going to say the game, but... I mean, that's also true, but the season.
I mean, they've done what they've been told they should do.
And
Dark Bones.
Dark Bones does Dark Bones.
Is
Stark
Murphy I mean,
Bones.
Gangsta Mario fast? Nope.
It's Dark Bones.
Stark Bones.
S.S. Stark.
My Me almost sees the lead back in the fourth, but the ball stayed in. Still, with BDB and Bowser next, the monsters were starting to raise some eyebrows.
I will say, hitting a wall on Cruiser is impressive. That takes precision.
I know. It almost makes you wish that I just decided to forget precision. I just went for a home run, because now there's a double play.
Yeah.
Triple play, actually.
Triple.
Was it triple?
Play.
Oh, yeah, because it was caught, then thrown.
And the eyebrows fell back down.
There are
He is
rumors
telling me
coming in that Dark Bones has been using performance-enhancing mushroom.
Huge power.
Oh!
Very concerning to hear. I really hope it's not true.
You
But
said... This guy? This guy right here?
This guy right here. I mean, look at him. He's...
Yeah, no, I don't think so, dude.
I don't... Maybe it's messing with his judgment, too.
Could be,
'Cause,
could
like,
be.
Running on 4 unanswered, the rookies looked primed to run away with this one.
Let's see if Ritter can get back into the MVP conversation this season.
I want
That's a
the
good
drink
start.
To go into
That's a
the
good
That-
start.
that's a-
Okay, bye-bye.
There we go,
I
his
mean,
first
there's-
scratch of the season.
PEDs or not, the rookies didn't seem to mind. They dropped in additional homers from Ritter and Firebro down the stretch while holding the monsters to only 2 more runs to secure a 6-4 victory. Not as pretty as they'd hoped, but they got out with a win. AJ and company, meanwhile, were beginning to question what the future would look like for a team only putting up 4 on Night Cruiser. Now for a potential finals preview between the other pair of bitter MRC rivals. The reigning champion Bows were set to duke it out with Deuce's new look Wilds, now starting Funky Kong at pitcher in place of the recently marooned Monkey Man. Both AJ and DZ joined me on commentary for this one, each placing their bets on the Wilds to take this one home. As for my thoughts,
I'm going Bows.
I don't know, something.
I'm going Bows
I don't
here.
know. I'm feeling Wario.
But yeah, my personal pick here, I'm going to go with the Bows. I think it is diabolical that they ended up with Boomerang, bro. He didn't make me look very good there, but I think he will look good later.
White Me Empty got the start for the Bows, where she quickly handled business and disposed of Teal. The Wild's first new addition reached for the second though, who took advantage of Empty's inexperience and launched a tank out to right. DK tried to replicate that, but the Bows' new outfield locked up. Despite the fact that they swiped her job in team training camp, fan favorite Flenzy was still proud from her new spot on the bench. As for their offense, Blue Madge got off to a good start with a Boo-assisted double. Another Boo assist came from the actual player, putting his new technique class to use with a star hit to score the first Bows run of the season. Their hot start finally cooled with Empty, whose first attempt as a proper ASA starter resulted in a double play. Fellow White Me Face met a similar fate, and we headed to the bottom of the inning with the Wilds looking to further their advantage. A pillar shot from Britter did just that and nothing more, meaning the Bows were right back to where they were last inning. Though Berto placed a good hit down the foul line, yet another disappointing White Me play disrupted any potential momentum. Greybones tried to get something started again, but the new addition would have to step up for real if Y-Guy's team was to make any headway here.
Bows are absolutely still in this game as well. There is no need to panic if you are a Bows fan. I mean, that may just score one now. He could have made that. He could have made that. That is down! Pass Britter. And now Boo and KB will have a chance to continue the rally.
Boo got a bit greedy and cost him the chance at anything more, but getting out with an additional run was better than nothing. Morale improved further as the Bows defense went 3 for 3 on sending Wild's batters packing, and KB led off the fourth with only 1 run separating the two juggernauts.
It'll be the bottom of the fourth when we've hit the halfway point of this game, really. Is that gone? It is. It is!
Wow.
Whoa! Whoa! I was expecting to say no.
Though the Bows were pleased to tie up the score, the excitement wouldn't last for long. A Wild's defensive stand into a British sack fly reinstated the same slim margin as before. Nothing flashy, but if they could keep this pace up, they might just manage to outlast the reigning champs. That pace allowed for 1 run per inning, but Greybones and Boomerang Bro both reaching scoring position with no outs was a bit of a challenge to that goal.
He's not making
wait,
that.
wait.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
A little excited there.
He's safe,
with
Eddie.
Greybones. All right.
That's
Deuce
so
is going
far.
to be begging for Madge to hit this one right to an infielder. But that's not going to happen.
Star hit.
Tiny got our ankles broken again as well, and that'll be a tie game with still no outs for the Bows. I'm telling you guys, the Bows are dangerous. I think these are the 2 best teams, though, so even if one of these teams will start 0-1, but this season will be fine for them either way. They're both going to be in the playoffs.
Oh,
postseason.
that was caught.
Yeah, Bows take a lead,
Double
though,
play.
because they had no outs on the board.
And with that, the Bows surged ahead for the first time in this key opening night matchup. A scoreless trip for both teams led into the bottom of the 6th, where the Wilds were finally beginning to feel the pressure of time running out. They put their 2 rostered captain players on the corners for real, who quickly showed why they called him the king of double play. The 7th began much like that last offensive spurt for the Bows. Bones and Midnight Blue on base to set up Madge.
Oh, he's stealing, though.
He's stealing.
We got a bunt attempt?
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's going back though.
Yeah,
Ooh.
you cannot bunt on a star pitch. That is a built-in mechanic to the game to prevent you from circumventing it like that.
Oh, I didn't know that actually.
If you can star again, if you're Boo, that would be great. That will also do it. They're up by 2.
Yeah, that works too.
They're up by 2 into KB.
And a double. Does he go home?
No,
No,
he
no,
thought
he
about it.
did
He thought
not.
about it. The run differential to beat right now is 5. After that 7-2,
Oh.
Ritter bobble.
that might do it.
Don't want to see that.
That might do it, Wilds fans. We'll see if you guys can come up with 3 in the bottom of the 7th, but
Wilds fans, I wish I could reassure you by telling you that you stopped the Bows here, but I'm afraid that's not the case. Empty brought in one last run to cap off a Grand Slam lead, and the Wilds would need a miracle. If you remember anything about this team's rivalry in Season 1, though, anything is possible.
The Wilds are definitely scared right now.
yep, that's going to be 1 out. They've got 2 more separating them and a tie for, I believe, 6th in the league, while the Bows would tie for 2nd. That one gets down. Gray Bones zips it in. Maybe Tiny's the beginning of something. If Funky can crush this one, they are within
Funky's gotta do
striking
it.
distance. This is huge, though. This is huge.
Does he do
That's not gonna. That's an out.
it?
That is an
Not
out.
gonna be,
No.
yeah. Not gonna make it.
Wait,
Oh,
no,
it's the wall.
The
Oh.
wall. They got
Whoa.
tricked out by the wall. Bows fans, I really hope for your sake that that doesn't matter, because that is a big, big mistake to make. Double play will end it here, so Teal's got to be careful. But I think she can. I think she can navigate around this. Berto may just elect to strike her
Oh.
out here, but I think it may be better to shoot for the double play. I don't know. No double! Boomerang Bro doesn't
Oh.
throw! Edward bobbles! The Wilds are going to score 1.
Oh, she's going for it. She's going for it.
Oh.
She made it. Oh.
Red Madge has a chance to continue, after which we'll be back into Wario with a chance to walk it off. This is what the game hinges on. If the Bows get you here, GG's. If they don't,
This needs to be a clutch play right now.
jump!
No.
He didn't get it!
Oh, he missed.
Wario can end it.
Too short.
They
Yes,
really
please,
don't
everyone.
wanna
Everyone,
keep
check
this
your heart
streak.
rates. Make sure that you are not about to have a heart attack here in the late game. This is the kind of thriller that we needed for opening night. That's it.
Oh,
Oh,
That is it. That is the game.
and that's over for.
that's unfortunate.
I almost jumped out of my
Right
chair.
at
A close-fought battle fit to bring opening night to a close. With all 8 teams making their season debuts, it's time to take a quick look at our standings, where there's an odd team out. That's right, to most everyone's surprise, the Flowers shot to the top of the league, while the defector Petey and the Knights sank to number 7, 1 spot above DZ's Eggs. The Fireballs claimed number 2, while the Rookies and Bows tied for 3. Right below that pair were their opponents, the Wilds and Monsters. We don't have any trades to discuss at this time, but don't worry, the blockbusters are certainly coming. For now, everyone thought it best not to act on a 1-game sample size, bringing us to the top half of Week 1 and the first cross-conference matchups of the season. Before that, though, we've got a brief PSA from the beginning of the stream that I think ought to be immortalized in edited form.
Okay. You guys ready? Check this out. It's me. Hey guys, how's it going? So for those of you who don't know, also I'm not even in the GM's call yet, so give me just a moment. How is it going, guys? Oh, I just ruined my own joke. How is it going? How's it going? It's me. This is what I look like, for those of you who don't know. Even happy birthday, even if you're my favorite team, is crazy. Yeah, you guys already know the deal. I am 21 years old today. I get to stream ASA games with you guys on my 21st birthday. How about that? I mean, how many college-age people do you know that spend their 21st birthday streaming Mario Baseball? My camera froze. You get to see me smiling like a goofball. Look at that. Now we're pretty much just back where we were before. Hang on, can I fix it? I can't fix it. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Hey guys, it's me again. I'm able to move again. Don't call me Unk. Deuce, you're older than me. Why are you calling me Unk? Anyways, in the spirit of keeping with what most people usually do for their 21st birthday, I've got myself a glass here that I've filled to the brim. It is ready for me on my 21st birthday. It is a wonderful, wonderful ice cold glass of water. I don't have Dolphin ready. I was gonna transition there, but I don't have Dolphin ready, so you gotta look at me again.
Hello.
There we
Well,
are.
if it isn't the birthday boy.
Yeah, here we go.
The guy.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday, Akamos!
Are you doing it? I'm not. You know
I
what?
think it's someone's special day.
On the count of 3, everyone.
I'm gonna deafen.
1,
We can try.
All right.
2, 3.
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Birthday to Will.
This is horrific, guys.
Serenades aside, Week 1 kicked off with the Bows taking on PD and the Knights. Unlike their game against the Wilds, the Bows came out ready in this one, putting up 2 behind a Greybones blast over the outfield. They kept the Knights from even pretending like they were going to respond, and Cyber's team had their work cut out for them against the defending champs. KB and Face both got the best of starting pitcher Larry Bird, and Y-Guy's team was on the prowl. All they'd have to do was avoid another double play from Empty.
But if you're gonna have an only threat, oh, that's gone.
Oh, yep.
3-run dinger from Empty. Wow. Wow, the Bows are just going. It's not even their normal suspect.
Yeah.
Like, the usual suspects haven't even shown up yet.
Her breakout didn't end there either. If you remember, Empty is also the Bows pitcher, and she was off to a much better start in this one than against DK and company. With the help of a strong defense around her, Empty held the Knights to only 1 hit until the bottom of the 4th, when Red Toad and Gangsta Mario finally put the scoreboard operator back to work. PD saw to it that the lead was trimmed to 2, but the Knights sputtered out there. Boomerang Bro took it upon himself to secure the game with a couple deep shots down the stretch, and the Bows settled for 8-3 as Birdo stepped in to close out their 2nd victory of the season. If you're wondering why I didn't speak much of PD in this one, it's because he was largely absent. Aside from his 1 homer and a dive here and there, he had very little impact upon this game, which seemed to be the beginning of a frustrating trend for the Knights. Next, we're off to Bowser Jr. Playroom to see how Spectro's rookies and DZ's eggs would stack up. This game was a quick turnaround for Egg's rookie scoreboard operator, who, if you remember, was just hard at work during our previous matchup. She notched her first base hit of her career in the first, but never progressed past second due to bad contact from Blitter. Scoreboard operator continued to look like the only player with a pulse for either team in the bottom of the inning, securing 2 of 3 outs as the rookies also fell flat. Maybe it's just a playroom thing, but this game devolved into an anyone score any runs challenge that lasted until the 4th inning.
This should be out of here, though. That's 1 run for Blitter.
Oh my goodness.
They didn't even jump. They knew.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
A home run on here is impressive.
yeah, would not have mattered if they jump. To homer on Playroom, you pretty much have to go down the line with it.
The rookies responded in the bottom with loaded bases into Diddy Kong, scoring 1 and bringing up longtime franchise staple Melania.
They managed to get rid of Peach, so they have a slightly easier start pitch to deal with now, but still not very easy. And Peach almost turned a double there if she had managed to predict that ball. Instead, it'll be Green Critter who turns it. That is a weird place to throw the ball overhand. Watch this.
My goodness.
Just hand it to him, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good
So
thing.
extra for no reason.
Right, it's a good thing that Blitter had that star, or else he might not have had the reaction time to be able to catch that.
With the Eggs offense still comatose, the rookies saw an opening for Ritter to steal the lead.
will have the last say in this game, by the way, because of the way that this league works. We can't really... Oh, that's another run.
That is so fast.
That was a really weird angle, but, like, we knew.
Yeah, you couldn't see the ball.
Yeah, also, it sounded like it hung in the air for super long. I want to see what happened to it here. Did we get to it? Oh, because it fell behind the thwomp. That's why we kept hearing it.
Fast forward another inning, and it was Firebro doing the honors. For such an infamous slap-hitting stadium, it was strange to see all 4 runs scored off of solo homers. In the very same bottom of the 6th, that trend did change, but not the way you're thinking. This time, Darkbone's No Doubter down the center scored 2. Unfortunately for scoreboard operator, her early efforts came back around to haunt her in the top of the 7th. With 2 runners on base and 2 outs, her mistimed slap found its way into Red Critter's glove to end the game. Now it's time for a battle between 2 heavyweight captains, as DK and Bowser were set to meet on Daytime Daisy Cruiser. One would come away with win number 1 on the season, while the other would be left winless, heading back into conference play.
Also, I'm the first one to bat. Let's see how it goes. Oh,
Happy birthday, you get a single.
Aw. So these teams are actually both 0-1 right now, despite the fact that it's the Wilds.
Despite that strong opening, BDB couldn't quite keep it pushing. That meant it'd be 1 runner on base for Bowser, with the potential for 2 early runs hanging in the balance.
Also, BDB's still throwing. What is going on?
Yeah, BDB is lost and confused. This one's tanked. Oh, ground rule double.
Oh, grand roll double.
We both knew it. That's so... What, Wario sits down?
Sadly for the monsters, newbie sensation The Drink and Red Yoshi each fell a bit flat, leaving 2 stranded and giving the Wilds a chance to strike first.
You know, have you ever considered that in an alternate universe, I'd approach you with a hypothetical where instead it would be 3 American lobster-sized Muhammad Alis, or 1 Muhammad Ali-sized American lobster?
So the question isn't which of those I would rather fight, but have I considered the fact that that is a question you could ask me?
Yeah. No, like, that's an alternate universe where that's just the thing that my brain comes up with.
Yes, but your hypothetical question is whether or not I've considered that and not what I would choose there.
Have you considered that?
No, I've not considered that.
Would you consider that?
I would consider it. That's caught.
Good to know.
Plato and Aristotle on commentary, says Chad. UTC YouTube boy. Oh, what a great. That's an all-timer.
A Walu charge hit was hardly what the monsters were looking for to capitalize, but Maimi was back up to the plate.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't catastrophic, as I'm going to bring in the first RBI of the game, baby. 21 years old. 21 years old. And unwashed. Now I'm good at baseball. 2 for 2 on the day, baby. Look how happy I am.
A BDB single brought another run in, and the Wilds considered themselves lucky to escape without giving up another 3 to Bowser. What happened to the invincible Wilds of old? Had power creep hit that hard, or were they just off to a cold start? We got the beginnings of an answer from Funky Teal and Red Madge in the second, who set up loaded bases for Brown Critter. This was a perfect chance to show everyone what this team was made of.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
That was great timing, by the way. That was very dramatic on my end. Yojimbo Blade with $1. I appreciate the contribution. I'm going to give it to the MVP of this game. That's not true. I'm not going to use your dollar like that. I wouldn't do that. Miss? Yep.
Oh, good manners.
Nope, top 1 luck.
Wilds
Inside the park
are
home
back.
run. Inside the park home run.
Wilds are back.
Inside the park grand slam, actually. An inside the park
What?
grand slam.
It took a bit for either offense to do anything after that one, but it was actually the monsters who managed to get the momentum back. I reached base for BDB yet again, and he crushed one to tie the game at 4s. Bowser's hit would have been over the wall if it went anywhere but the back corner, and the Wilds narrowly escaped another deficit as Britter came up clutch yet again. We remained locked for the next inning or so, during which I had to step out and process my emotions from all the birthday wishes and donations in chat. Spectro hopped on the mic just in time to see Bowser facing off against DK in what would prove a crucial at-bat.
We got Donkey Kong up to bat. I just realized Donkey Kong with tie on means clothes are like a concept for monkeys. He just chooses not to wear any.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yo, Donkey Kong with a rare slap.
Okay,
well, yo, chill.
Never mind.
Yo, chill.
You were supposed to be DPOI, bro. Come on.
The Drink and Red Yoshi each went for 1 RBI to even things back up, but Wario and Britter matched that on the other end to pull ahead one final time. As the monsters sputtered out, the Wild secured their first win of the season, though it absolutely wasn't a pretty one. For our final game, it's the shockingly first-seeded Flowers taking on the Corbin Fireballs. Just like the Eggs game, the Flowers had the good fortune of having our opponent's previous GM in our dugout, so we were hopeful we could keep our spot up top. As for Corbin, he knew his team was equally capable of a 2-0 record, and he intended to prove it. Mario placed a good hit to open things up, but an effortless double play by Hammer shut that down pretty quick. Good train timing put the Maverick on third, but Daisy tracked down a disappointing BP hit to escape unscathed. She and Blooper didn't quite come through on the other end, but Wiggler placed a good slap to complete the first half of the new Wig-Wham combination. RP proved his worth by standing strong and delivering a strikeout to the second half to prove that neither defense intended to budge. In fact, the first budge came in the top of the third as Blue Toad bobbled an RP hit to score Mario. The Fireballs were uncharacteristically unable to get a rally going though, so we were still in a close one. Both defenses held strong as their respective offenses looked wholly unimpressive into the bottom of the fourth. With Blooper on and Wig-Wham due up, this would be the Flowers' best chance until much later on.
No way. No way Corbin is 0 for 6 all time with 4 double plays. That's insane. That is insane.
I think it's time to go back to the benches at that point, man.
Yeah. I don't think you're built for this, buddy.
it's like managing.
Anyways, Hammer Bro is charging up with 2 people on base, and that is going to be a 3-run homer, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
They say when it rains, it pours, and even clear skies weren't enough to keep the storm from rolling.
Oh my, Captain Falcon,
wow.
I think that might be gone.
That's
that
out,
is going to be gone. Off the top of
Wow.
the wall, Captain Falcon. As a wise man once said, you're playing checkers, but I am playing chess.
That explosion prodded starred YP into a response in the 6th, but he could only bring Corbin's team back within 2. Their final effort in the 7th failed to produce any other sparks, and the Flowers held on to a 5-3 victory. With 2 of 12 game slates down, our 2 Season 3 finalists were tied for the top spot. Beneath the Flowers and Bows were the Rookies and Fireballs, the 2 preseason favorites out of the BFC. Deuce and Corbin flew down the middle, while the Monsters, Eggs, and Knights all kept searching for that first win. To that end, let's talk about the biggest trade in league history. Both unsatisfied and needing something to change, the Eggs and Knights agreed to a deal sending King K. Rool, Blue Critter, and Grey Guy to the Knights, in return for Petey Piranha, Toadette, the Spectro-Me, and Sigourney. I'll let my official report explain my thoughts at the time. For a quick subjective analysis, I think this trade makes sense on both sides. Cyber was clearly struggling with Petey as the team's only offensive weapon, so he increases the number to 2 by swapping for K-Rool and Blitter. The Eggs were also clearly struggling to get much done with their double critter lineup, so swapping for Petey and a pair of light green Miis to bridge him in with the team captain is a promising shakeup. They notably retained Critter as well, who has now been separated from K-Rool for the first time in league history. That last bit was true for all of 7 hours, until the Eggs and Flowers reached an agreement that night. DZ was tired of dealing with his critters being so hot and cold, so he decided to send away the last remaining member of his original offensive trio to bring in a consistent slapper in Green Drybones. Critter, who'd been rivals with my squad since the very beginning, would need to let bygones be bygones, as he rejoined Jake Cuevas on the Flowers. That said, he effectively swapped places with Petey, so I guess he still has someone to hate. In one last deal, the Flowers checked another name off our target list as the Fireballs offered Baby DK in return for Red Knee Flame. Not quite as mind-boggling as our other 2 reports, but this was hardly a nothing trade. Anyway, with that covered, let's launch back into some Week 1 action, this time with a few overhauled rosters to examine. We'll actually get to see one right away, as Petey and the Eggs led off the slate by hosting the top-ranked Bows in Nighttime Stadium. The experiment looked to be a success early on, as Dixie brought in a run to set up Petey.
Yeah. Now we'll see if Petey... we want to talk about former Flowers on this team.
That's true.
How about the former Flower?
Oh.
That one's going to be caught.
It is going to be caught.
I've seen too many Petey hits in my day.
Despite the big Piranha still looking a bit lethargic on the offensive end, the Eggs were happy to be out to an early lead, and the new acquisition did make a nice dive to notch one out. It wasn't until the bottom of the 2nd that they faced any sort of resistance, but Midnight Blue had been hot to start the season. If they weren't careful...
Uh-oh. Well, he didn't push it. It should be caught. No, it's not, is it?
Fast, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fast.
the game might just be tied.
That's why I said Midnight Blue tied it up, and then Blue Magic reached. Also a double for Boo, by the way.
crazy work for Boo. You don't see that much out of him.
Look at Deuce
now
crouched
for
down.
his like,
Okay.
is King Boo his dad? Like his
liege.
Or just his liege? Okay.
That is a
Oh,
three-run
King
shot
Boo
from
does
him.
normal King Boo things.
Yeah. Yep.
The
My
line
liege.
drive merchant.
My liege. Excellent work, my liege. Oh, 4-1 bows now. And the
yeah.
eggs are looking like the eggs.
To their credit, the Eggs were the next team to score. Unfortunately, it was only one off of a solid but still disappointing PD hit into the gap. Their eventual home run came in the 5th from a former Flower making his Eggs debut, but it was GDB with no runners. PD didn't do much that go round. That said, production is production, and they were only one run away from tying up the reigning champs despite their mistakes.
Alright, Midnight Blue. Can he go for a second one? He's trying. I don't think this one has... It does.
Wow. Just when
Midnight
the
Blue.
Eggs thought that they were getting back.
Oh, man. Do I hear an MVP? Do I hear an MVP chant in the crowd? Is that what I'm hearing right
know.
now? I think that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Another Boo double later in the inning brought up his liege once more, who starred to bring in his 4th and 5th RBI of the game. Next, it was Empty, Birdo, Greybones, and Midnight Blue banding together for 3 more runs in the 6th, and no last-second PD heroics could save the Eggs anymore. Which is funny because they kind of arrived.
I'd put me in front of PD, if anything.
That's tanked up the middle. I think ID's getting there. Yeah. Face is also getting there. What?
They thought it was going to be off the wall.
But then why did all
What are they,
3 of them
stupid?
gather there? All 3 of the outfielders just gathered
They
there.
just wanted to know.
Watching them get
They
hit.
were curious.
I mean, watching all 3 of them get hit with the Spectro bomb there. I mean, look at the grin on his face. he just went bowling. He just went bowling on Bo's outfielders.
He did, and he got a strike.
Oh, maybe that was okay. Well, with that context.
Oh, I didn't
now
even
that
realize
being
this
the
was
end
the end of the game. I'm gonna be
Yes.
honest.
With that being the end of the game, maybe we can consider the idea that that was just BM from the Bo's
Yeah, my
outfield.
outfield just participated in intense BM. What was that?
Yeah, they were like, we're all going to gather here and watch it go over just to mess with you, as KB will take it home.
That makes one unsuccessful trial in the new PD experiment, but it's hard to say whether that's anything to go off of. After all, it was a close game for a while, and the Bows are no slouches. Especially not Empty, who pitched a full game and chipped in on offense to complete a dominant two-way showing. Our next contest featured their trade partners, the Cyber Knights. They were set to duke it out with the AJ Monsters, so one of those 2 winless teams would be getting there first. To witness this historic occasion, we dragged Corbin kicking and screaming into the commentary booth.
Proudly repping the low gang as well. Proudly repping the low gang.
I mean, Cyber just had a pretty huge trade. Trading off Peter.
I mean, hey,
For
is it going to be
Cable.
enough to get the job done? And it might be BDB going all the way to the back of the outfield. Is it gone?
Oh.
Yes, it is!
The Knights didn't give up anything further, but were they also doomed to the same fate as the Eggs? Both teams thought the grass was greener on the other side, but what if all of the grass is covered with fungus and dying? A Larry Sackfly scored 1, but that was all they could muster. If the Knights were to prosper, they'd need to avoid giving up anything else to the mine.
The drink! The drink!
The drink! No way.
Elite. That was elite.
They call him the drink.
Corbin's your real name?
It's
That's
a name,
that's
bro.
a regular name, dude.
What
It
did you
is?
think it was?
I've
Yeah.
never heard of this name.
Wait, that's like an actual name? I thought that was a username.
I also
That's
thought
an
it was just a
actual
username.
name, guys.
Dude, have you all
Yeah.
ever watched
Nasty arrow
Corbin
shot.
Blue, High School Musical? Hello?
No.
Okay.
Who
Johnny,
who
cool,
watches
dude.
High School Musical?
That is the most rage bait
That's
thing you've ever
sad.
said, dude. That's a rage bait quote. I'm not listening to that. And it was Bowser up
It's
to bat.
unbelievable, yo. Anyways,
Bowser,
Oh.
that's gone.
Bye.
Yeah.
After that fiasco, the Knights had a lot of catching up to do. With Red Toad and Cyber reaching base to set up Blitter, though, things were looking somewhat doable.
Oh, you want to go
Blitter?
for it again? He does not.
Blitter
Dude,
selling for
what?
another slap. And a bobble. That's gonna send 2 home, I think?
Dude,
Oh my god, it is.
Blitter deserved that.
Bowser played no games after witnessing that, using his star pitch to guarantee the strikeout on K-Rool. BDB landed a nasty arrow shot to drive the drink in, and the monsters were doing what they could to resist a momentum shift. Green Madge, Kareem, and Green Toad would not be denied, however, loading the bases into...
The road to success. It could be true.
Oh.
And it will be true.
Okay, wait, is it 2? Are they crazy? That is 2.
We got a ball game now. This is a 1-point game.
Cyber popped one more out over the infield to tie things up, and the Knights refused to go quietly into the night. Still, in order to seize a late lead, they'd first need to deal with the monsters.
Oh, no.
No way.
No, that's caught, for sure. It's not caught. First Walu homer, I think, ever in this league.
The new lead held relatively unchallenged until the bottom of the 6th, when the Knights avoided a double and loaded up the bases with a bit of item tomfoolery. A road sack fly evened things back up, and K-Rool had a chance for what could be an early dagger.
Oh, it's
no.
gonna get down though.
Wait.
It's gonna send Luigi home. Next lead.
Oh, 2? For 2? No.
Oh, no, he's not gonna get there.
Go back.
Not exactly what they were hoping for, especially considering the monsters managed to escape without giving up anything else. Still, the Knights had their first lead of the game going into inning 7. Battling for survival, Walu, Paragoomba, and Red Para loaded things up. All they needed to force the bottom of the inning was 1 run, but it looked like they might be going for more than that.
Wait, who's up? Mr. Murphy?
Nah, .25 batting average in the minors. He's choking. I have no faith. He's choking.
Let's see it. Yep. Triple? Yep.
No way! Oh my
Wait,
god.
who caught that? Green Match clutch player? Question mark? After just throwing?
Welcome to Cyber's Wild Ride, everyone. Speaking of wild rides, let's head to Daytime Daisy Cruiser to see its owner and the Flowers taking on Deuce's Wilds. My team was looking to continue shocking the lead by charging ahead to 3-0, while Deuces was hoping to drag us down and lift themselves up like crabs in a bucket. When it came to first impressions though, it really didn't look like they would be getting their wish. Real was the only Wild to reach base early, and Critter proved his worth by ending the inning and stranding him on second. As for our offense, Daisy, Blooper, and Wiggler opened up flawlessly for the first time this season, giving Whammer a chance for an early slammer.
Star Whammer?
Oh, why? Why?
1-0 game for the Flowers.
Sure.
Start off the game.
Sure, but why?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, dude. I don't know what you're finding wrong about this.
If it ain't fixed, broke it. You'll understand one day.
To Corbin's dismay in the commentary booth, the hideous creature expanded the lead to 3-0 before an errant POW ended the offensive. The Wilds responded adequately with runners on the corners, but this time it was Hammerbro to stifle things out by turning a double play. A tilted ship helped to drive a couple more in, and the Flowers were actually looking pretty good.
Whammer! Oh, that's good.
Daisy, what are you doing?
Oh, Daisy, what are you doing?
In situations like these, there's usually one Wild who helps to bail the team out. In the top of the third, all eyes would be on
Critter to climb back down from 5-0. Oh, that's gone! It's 5-2.
They'd have to settle for 5-2 now, but all they needed to do was hold firm to stay within Grandy range. What they couldn't afford was to be giving the Flowers charity runs, but Blue Toad made Teal and Hugh short circuit to achieve just that. Critter starred for 7-2, and the Flowers kicked back to relax. It was still early, but this one was looking to be in the bag. And that was all it took. A little preemptive relaxation was just what allowed Britter to loft one into the gap, bringing home Wario to pull back within 4. Real connected as well, and it was down to 3. Daisy used her ever-dreaded star pitch on DK, and it looked like things would be getting worse for the Flowers.
He does, and it's a shell too. Yeah.
Oh, she jumps!
That was a chess play. By all accounts, that was chess.
The Flowers' offense still couldn't seem to regain the fire they'd been playing with earlier, and in the blink of an eye, they were scrambling back out on defense. Teal brought one in, then Wario starred to cause some havoc.
Oh,
Can we see him finally deliver?
acting like a technique class. As he gets a free single.
Now, back within 1, we had a ball game. The Flowers' defense dialed back in to maintain our 1-run lead for a bit longer, but the Wild's own fielders would not allow it to grow. With 2 runners and no outs in the 6th, the yet homerless DK loomed. He was due.
Very scared. I imagine Akamos is terrified as a homer right now.
Oh, wait.
Oh, and that might be it. Is it high?
Down? It's just low
Oh.
enough. Someone, please. Tiny Homer? Tiny Homer. Tiny
Oh
Homer.
my god, and the Wilds are leading.
It's not a Grandy, but it'll definitely suffice.
Who cares? Wilds are leading now. It's a 9-7 game for the Wilds.
The nightmare choke job continued as Teal put some heat on a ball to force the hideous creature into a bobble. Captain Falcon managed to recover as Hammerbro set us to the bottom of the inning, but the Wilds had now gone for 7 unanswered, dating all the way back to the 3rd. Their own victory was by no means assured, but the Flowers would have to do something to prevent it.
Daisy been charging a lot. Is that...
Oh, and that's
a
gone.
homer. That's a homer.
That's gone.
Daisy's mad.
2 more successful batters later, Whammer stepped up with an opening to leap back out front.
Not phased. With no reaction.
Unfazed. Oh! He's not short! I mean, could you
Oh.
blame him?
Yeah, you can't. See?
Oh!
Oh!
Real goes flying!
The Wilds came out looking nervous in the 7th, unable to make much of anything happen. Tiny stepped up and tried to launch another, but it came up short. One last chance for the Flowers.
That's match stamina for you. Oh!
Oh,
That's gone. That's gone.
It's the game.
That's
Sick.
walk-off.
As the Flowers are gonna go 3-0 to start the season.
No.
Oh!
That trade looking more and more appealing by the day.
Yeah, that trade is looking mighty fine for Akamos right now, as the Flowers stay on top of the league with a 3-0 record to start the season. My goodness.
I don't know that there's much I can add to that one, other than saying it's an instant classic and a statement of a Flowers debut from Critter. If you think that's a big claim, let's head to our final game, which was anything but a classic. This was our only game in this slate not testing a new acquisition, so we sorta knew what was up. We expected a good fair fight between the BFC's 2 finest to this point, and we had no reason to think the opposite would happen. The Fireballs leapt out to a 2-0 lead in the first behind a good old-fashioned slap rally. Definitely nothing out of the ordinary, but the seeds of doubt began to take root as the rookies went 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the inning, including a pathetic opener from the same Dark Bones currently creating buzz in MVP talks. In the second, it was RP drilling a shot for 2 runs. Still, it was only a grandy lead, something we've seen surmounted many times before. That said, teams that overcome that deficit usually make scoreboard operator at least change the hit number by the 3rd inning. The rookies did not. It was in that 3rd inning that the floodgates opened. The Fireballs piled on a whole 10 runs, answered at last by a whopping 1 in the bottom of the inning. By the bottom of the 6th, the Fireballs had blown this one up to a 13-run lead, so the only real commentary highlight I have to show you is the birth of Darkbone's new nickname, or nicknames.
Stark Bones.
Stark Bones.
See, when I dig up famed billionaire, Spectre.
Boney Stark.
Boney Stark.
Is that Calcium Man?
That's my favorite. Spectre just joined, and all he put in chat is, oh.
As we're talking about Calcium Man, also known as Boney Stark.
Boney Stark built this team from the ground up
I'm crying.
with nothing but slaps.
This one never showed any signs of a momentum shift, ending at a disappointing 16-2 as the Fireballs handed the rookies their first loss and surged into 3rd place. Speaking of the standings, the Bows now claimed sole possession of the top seed, while the Flowers remained number 2. The rookies claimed number 4 despite the loss, while Deuce and Cyber rounded out the top 6. Currently winless and in the shadow of early elimination, the Monsters and Eggs would each need to make some serious headway in Week 2 to have a decent chance. With so many big trades, roster shifts, and unpredictable outcomes, many questions started to arise. Were we wrong about the Wilds? Would the Flowers ever come back down to earth? Were the Fireballs truly the best in the BFC? All these and more next time in the Akaland Slugging Association. Before we end this episode though, a big thanks to our wonderful community artists, whose presence and fantastic contributions are always cherished. I'd like to make this spot at the end a series showcase for some of the art going around the league, so let me know in the comments if you're a fan of that idea. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you soon for Week 2.
I'm going to let a special musical number from a community member take over. For one of our ball knowers, I should say. I'm gonna go away and I'm gonna get it playing.
Just believe me. I still dream of your smile every night. I'm watching replays of you, love the way that you fight. Peace. she tells you that I've moved along, I'm still here whamming in hopes that one day you'll come home.